Sounds good.
Hi, friends. Welcome. I know that those of you that are struggling in perimenopause or this transition into menopause, you might be wondering, what about the marital side of things, right? What about the marriage relationship when things get hard or things get tough or things just look different here and now? So I want to talk to you more about this and introduce you to my amazing guest today. I'm super excited to have her join us, and we'll dive into hopefully some really pressing questions you have about this time. If you're new here, I'm Rita Johnson. I'm the owner of Health and Hormones, and here you'll find all things from fatigue solutions to period help to gut healing and so much more. Let's dive in. So today I am joined with my amazing friend, Dr. Sarah Bartel, and Sarah and her husband run an amazing apostolate online, and you might have heard of their online course called My Delight, amongst other things that they are doing. And I'm just so excited to introduce her to you all today. So thank you so much, Sarah, for joining me.
Thanks for having me. It's so delightful to speak with you.
Thank you. So, okay. I love that we get to have this conversation because we're both like in this perimenopausal season, right? And we are both so gifted to be able to walk with so many women as they navigate this season too. So let's just dive right into the heart of it. Some women might be thinking as fertility wanes or perhaps has gone away completely if they're already in menopause. What is the point now of marital intimacy if we're not even able to be open to life?
Yes. And we're so blessed to have the church to guide us with her beautiful teachings, because it's really clear in the teachings of our Catholic Church that there are two ends or purposes to lovemaking and marriage, and procreation is one of them. And it's not the only one. That the bonding, the unitive end is also very important. And that doesn't go away when our fertility wanes or goes away. So it's still really good. And there's so much to say here. Like, this is the body language of our wedding vows. This is how we say, I give myself to you. I receive you completely. I do now, fully present and my whole self and fully alive. So that, that goes through the seasons of the marital life cycle, including this time of perimenopause and menopause and postmenopause. And that's just such a grace. And it really taps into the sacramental grace of our marriage. The bonding is so important and so good. Especially if we are able to experience lovemaking in a mutual, pleasurable way where the wife is also enjoying it. That's part of this language. But there's a spiritual dimension as well, I guess is what I want to say. And you're stirring up the graces of your sacrament by really choosing with your whole presence and whole self to enter into this. And Father Mike Schmitz has a video for Ascension Press in which he quotes St. Thomas Aquinas saying, as often as husband and wife are in a state of grace and enter into the sexual embrace, they grow in grace and glory. So, you're increasing in spiritual graces when you make love with your husband, which is not to say this is an imperative now, like you must do it more. I do not want any woman feeling pressure and an obligation mentality, because that really kills pleasure. And just like I like drawing parallels with the Mass, Rita, with lovemaking. Like, you can get way more benefit out of going to Mass once a week with a really good disposition and really preparing yourself and receiving the most you can out of it, than if you were like forcing yourself to go every day to daily Mass and just exhausted and being like, well, I've just got to get there. I just need to do this, but even though it is good to go to Mass more, like objectively, for you, if you're doing it without a proper disposition, and you're not really capacitated to receive the graces from that, more is not necessarily better. Does that make sense? I kind of want to walk the line there.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. And I think that, too, although there is this redefining slightly of who we are as women, if we're no longer like able to conceive in our womb physically, right? It also doesn't negate the importance of coming together with our spouse, which our husbands are telling us. But
Mhm.
sometimes I think we tend to hear them through a different lens than what they're saying. And so I love that because I feel like then we can really draw on the wisdom of the church and amazing powerhouse saints that have talked about this, and we can kind of lean into that a little more in those tough conversations. And then also, of course, the spiritual motherhood aspect of who we are and how we are designed. We do still have a womb, right? Whether it's physically able to bear fruit or not.
And
But yeah.
spousal, like as brides, like we're motherly and we're also brides, even as we enter into menopause, and we're brides in a new way there. And I just like to emphasize that because a lot of times women will look to procreation and motherhood as a justification for sex. Right. And that makes it really hard once the procreation, is and the fertility wane. And then they're like, well, then how do I account for this in my life? Do I even need it anymore, want it anymore? But remembering that you are a bride and your husband is your bridegroom, even as you enter into the golden years and, all of that, it can just help you know that spousal love is so worthy. And the church's language around sex, it says that the actions in marriage by which the husband and wife give themselves to each other are noble and worthy. So it's a good thing. It's holy. You don't need to justify it and say like, well, it's just okay because of procreation. When the church said the actions are noble and worthy, it didn't say so long as you're making sure to keep an eye on procreation. It just said full stop. Like this is good in your marriage.
That's so beautiful. I love that. Okay, so and I think that this is another perhaps prevalent thing in Catholic circles and Christian circles, but sometimes when we encounter these heavy symptoms in perimenopause or the hormonal fluctuations that happen and make us no longer feel as good or as vulnerable or increasing our libido and all of those things, we tend to hear this message, whether it's being told to us or not, to just kind of like suck it up, right? Just carry your cross, like just do it anyway, like go through with this, like deal with your symptoms, deal with the marital relationship that doesn't feel like the way that it used to. What do you say to that woman that's like encountering this and like, okay, so I guess I just have to keep sucking it up?
Yeah, and I bet you see that with women maybe resisting, like seeking care for perimenopause, and like whether it's okay to try to do something about it and find solutions for the symptoms. Like maybe thinking, well, this is God's plan for my body, so why don't I just suffer? And I see that on my end, helping women with learning to enjoy lovemaking more. They also might have this, I would say, wrong idea that, well, it's just this is the way it is. I just have to have sex with my husband for his good or because it's a good thing, even though I'm not really enjoying it. And that's not at all what God's plan for his beloved daughters is. He made it to be pleasurable for women as well. And it's just a matter of learning and understanding what it takes. And when our bodies are changing, that's such an invitation to listen. What are they telling us? And probably what it's saying is, let's slow down. Let's rest and reflect and pause. And let's see what care you need.
Yeah.
So that is a real virtue, to be able to listen, to let go of our pride and our sense of like achieving self-worth wrongly by what we do or accomplish or do for others, and letting ourselves be the object of like this, giving care to ourselves. So I think that is really important for both, because there's like this garden model versus machine model to who we are as persons. And a machine model is like, just keep doing, maybe fix a part or two here or there, but like output, like let's just, we make sure it is functioning. Whereas a garden model is like, let's look at what the conditions are. Do we need to enrich and till the soil? And growth is organic and we can't guarantee results and output. And you, daughter of God, are this beloved, you're this garden and you're worthy of care, I would say. So that's what
Yeah.
I would tell her. It's okay to find, what care you need to improve your situation. That's not like skipping the cross. That's really listening attentively.
Yeah, I love that. And I think there is so much wrapped up in that identity piece of, maybe for a long time we've identified our worth as the person that does the things for the people.
Right.
And the reality is that that's not your true ultimate identity. It's only found in, realizing the love that the Lord is giving to us just because he loved us, right? Just because he loved us into existence. And I think that's such a big piece too with, whether you're talking about the marital relationship, and I know you talk about that a lot, Sarah, or if you're talking about hormonal balance, like we kind of have to get back to that place of like, how do we balance our nervous system and support it so that we can just like let our body see that there's not all of these emergencies, there's not all of these fires. So what does this look like for you lived in your day to day? What are some self-care practices that you prioritize?
Oh, that's such a great question. And I love this. And I think we should all be asking ourselves this, like, what would help me soothe my nervous system? What would help me regulate my nervous system and emotions? Because then we are set up to thrive more in our hormones, in our well-being, in our love life, because that's really the foundation. Our libido is it functions out of our parasympathetic nervous system, which is what we're in when we're in rest and digest, as you well know. And so when we're operating out of chronic stress, it's going to be really hard to access desire and libido and pleasure and lovemaking, as well as like all the hormone symptoms are going to be worse. Right. So what I like to do, I have a couple things, a handful of self-care practices. I love to read classic literature, which I know that you also do, my friend. I'm part of a well-read mom book club. I'm actually a leader. And reading my book club books throughout the month is really fun for me. And then discussing it with other ladies and discussing it with my family, it really fills me up and activates my mind. And just kind of, yeah, it's like authentic leisure. It's not mere distraction like scrolling is. It's really nourishing. And then I like baths and I love walking, especially in nature and hiking, and then gardening as well. And just playing around in the dirt, moving my flowers around, even just weeding and then seeing the result like, oh, this little patch of garden is weed free now. I find that so restorative for me and really fun. And then sometimes I'll think about the garden in scripture or in our faith, like Adam and Eve were in a garden. Jesus rose in a garden. That's where Mary Magdalene found him. The Song of Songs, there's so much garden imagery there. So, I mean, honestly, I'm not thinking theology most of the time when I'm gardening, but every now and then I'm just in the flow of like the gardening.
Yeah.
And then I also have one other self-care practice that really lights me up and is a little bit nerdy and weird, but I think a lot of women will get this. And that is decluttering. I am so happy when I am filling up bags with stuff to give away to bring to the thrift store or the donation place. And yeah, I just really like getting rid of stuff.
Yes, I love that. I love that so much. And I think too, to the ladies listening to this, like self-care practices, incorporating them into your life, sometimes it can feel almost like this, I shouldn't make a big deal that I prioritize doing these things or that I have time to do these things. Sarah and I both have big families and we have, like different needs from the businesses and different things, but these are our non-negotiables is like, regular scheduled self-care into our days, into our routines. And not only does it allow for us to really support all these functions of our body, but also then to allow for the Lord to fill us up in these ways. Even though, like you mentioned, Sarah, like gardening, we don't have to be thinking about the theology, but it's all the Lord's, right? We're literally up to our elbows in what He has given us to steward and take care of. And so there is this piece of like, if you feel that way, if you feel like you're being selfish or like, oh, I shouldn't prioritize myself that much, I would just really encourage you to take a step back and see. I believe that there's probably more people in your circle that are doing self-care practices than you even realize. But sometimes we tend to just look at the busy exteriors instead of these calm, quieter moments of self-care that we're intentionally cultivating.
Totally. Wait, Rita, if you don't
Yes,
mind,
please.
before we move
Yeah.
on, I just want to share
Yeah.
a really juicy tip with all the ladies listening that if you can proceed lovemaking with your husband with a transition time where you're relaxing and caring for yourself, just try it and see what difference it makes, because you'll probably find it makes a big difference. If you take a bath first, if you take some time by yourself to flip through a magazine or read a book, or just like rest in silence or take a walk by yourself or get a massage. I mean, it could be with the husband if it's like massage or relaxed cuddle time before you begin your marital embrace activities. That transition just really is a game changer. So that's like how you can target it specifically to really improve your experience. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So true. Yeah. Because we just tend to go from a mile a minute running around our
Right.
houses, right? And that's so good to just pause, pivot, have maybe a few minutes away. Husband, I'll meet you in 10.
Yes.
Oh, that's so powerful. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I
Thanks.
love
Thanks for
that.
letting me pop that one in there.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So I know you have a freebie that you want to tell my ladies about. So can you share that?
Yeah, for sure. And actually, that's one of the tips in there. I recorded, okay, I just got, it was like the back of a piece of paper that I plucked out of the recycling bin. Like, this is how my creative process works. But I just started writing on a piece of paper, like, what do I want every woman to know about how to make lovemaking really good in your marriage? There's some things that a lot of women don't know, or they're operating out of of a distortion, like the obligation sex mentality, for example. So I just started writing these all down. And then I recorded a podcast, and it's a list of 10 truths every woman needs to know in order to make lovemaking good in your marriage. And then from that, I made it into a guide. So that's the guide that I would be so happy to offer. And it has some pointers about your anatomy and how God designed you for pleasure, but also about mindset and like length of time and how long our arousal curve really needs to warm up, that this is normal, that it's longer and slower, and just lots of different practical skills and tips like that. So that is available. Read it for yourself, share it with your friends, your sister, your mom's group and Bible study friends, because I just want every woman to yeah, to just know these things that we should know about how God created our sexuality. So that's at canafeast.com/10, like 10 truths. 10. So canafeast.com/10 truths. Yeah.
Beautiful. And we'll put the link below to this too. Thank you so much for that, Sarah. That sounds amazing. And I wanted to let you ladies know too that Sarah and I are going to be a part of a workshop at the end of August. So it's a 5-day workshop. We'll be joined with 3 other presenters. We all have a day that we're going to be presenting, and then Q&A will follow each day's conversation. And it's going to be deep dive into perimenopause. And what I'm so excited about this workshop is that it's 5 women that have really dedicated so much of our lives to supporting and working with women from totally different angles. And we are just going to all come together and share some of our expertise and things that we want everyone to know as they navigate perimenopause and into menopause. So the link to that is in the description below as well. But thank you so much again, Sarah, for your time today. I know the ladies are going to love this, and I love so much what you're doing. It's so important to be having these conversations out loud.
Yes.
Right, like we're not oftentimes doing that in our small Catholic circles. Our husbands definitely aren't, and so it's good to see like this isn't just a problem that is unique to your marriage, to your situation, but that there's so much we can do within the teachings of the church to make it more beautiful and more sacramental. So thank you for your ministry.
You're so welcome. Thank you, Rita.
Thanks again for your time today. All right, ladies, grab the links to those things. You're going to absolutely love them.